Hi, Nicholas. Hi, Barbara. Lovely to see you. This is Puja Talwar from India. And
Hi.
I watched the film, and it's my pleasure, ma'am, to speak with you because I followed your work. So I'm going to ask both of you this question. Do you believe in the supernatural, the paranormal, or do you believe in entities?
I believe there's a lot going on that we have no explanation for. Whether or not the explanations that people have come up with are accurate, I don't know. But I think it's kind of egotistical to think that this is all that's going on, when so many people have had experiences, and the likelihood of things that we don't understand existing makes sense to me.
True. And Nicholas, his Instagram account is Zombie Nick. Now, Nick, do you believe in zombies and entities?
Yeah, I think there can be some sort of zombies out there, depending like whatever it might be.
True. And man, you have such a prolific and decorated career, and you've done work across genres, and they call you unnatural. But what were your reasons to take on this particular role? Because Judith came across somebody who's vulnerable. She's also very practical and extremely strong. And what was your process like?
Well, I really loved the character. I love that she's foul-mouthed, and that I just really identified with aspects of her life force. And I loved the relationship with Nicholas's character, and there was a lot about it that I liked. I hadn't played her before. I'm always looking for parts I hadn't played. And it was fun to play somebody who was the heroine. That was fun, actually.
And in a career that spanned over 6 decades, I mean, how do you decide to say yes, that I would play this character? What is it like?
I mean, what makes me say yes?
Yes, to a character, to a story. I mean, after having done so much.
Yeah, part of it is if I haven't seen it before or read it before. If it surprises me, that interests me. And also I love variety. So if I haven't played the character before, then it automatically attracts me. Sometimes it'll be a great part in a not so great project, but I'll do it because it's a great part. Or sometimes it'll be an okay part in a really wonderful project, and then I'll do it because I want to be part of that project. And sometimes it'll be both.
Yeah. I get that. And Nicholas, coming to you, I mean, it's the relationship between the grandmom and the grandson which was most endearing, because you are her best friend, the only person she trusts. So what was it like on set? And also when you are opposite such an established and esteemed actor, were there any nervous moments?
Oh, I mean, working with Barbara was like, I was a little nervous, like first day, and she was just so amazing. Like I learned so much, and just instantly the nerves went away, and we were working together, and it was so awesome. Like it was just, I mean, she's a legend. What else can I say?
But we had a lot of fun, didn't we?
Yeah,
we really did.
Yeah, and really working on the relationship and stuff. It really helped translate that to screen, and like our time off screen. Working on those characters and forming that relationship was just, it was as an actor, it was so helpful. Like I couldn't ask for a better co-star.
Cool.
Honestly, and that came across because, I mean, in that entire narrative, you both actually are the voice of sanity, with all that drama that's unfolding. But also this story addresses our own fear of our own mortality. When we all want to be eternal, we don't want to face our fears. So, I mean, has there ever been I mean, you have seen it all. I mean, you have been, working since the 1960s. You've seen the change in industries. What has been actually your biggest fear, if I may ask?
Biggest fear? I guess not finding material, not finding things that are exciting, or it always seems so tenuous. I mean, there are points in that career that felt like things were coming at me and I felt more secure, but there's always the fear that another film won't come, and then there's always the fear that I won't be good. I mean, it's always like standing on the edge of an icy pond, knowing you have to jump in, and once you're in, you're swimming and everything's fine, but that anticipation at that moment is always fearful. But that's just the shadow side of excitement to me. That just means you care and you're excited by it and you want to do well. But that's kind of a constant fear, if you want to call it a fear.
And it's a good fear to have because it makes you do better, as I say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Nicholas, coming to you, they always say whenever you're shooting a movie like that, there are often some activities that happen. Was there any experience on set? This is the two of you. Any moments, jump scare moments on set?
I think one of the, I don't know, probably one of the like scariest moments, just being in there. I don't know if you felt this too, Barbara, but when we were underneath the bed, I was and saw Bruce's legs like going back and forth, like that genuinely like made me like so tense and so nervous. I don't know why, just getting into that scene, it was like truly terrifying, because like you always see it on film, you see that and it's scary, but like being there and like seeing and it's actually happening and we're under the bed and we're like, oh God, it was like it was so scary.
Interesting. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
We're on a real location, so
yeah.
That's always great, because then you don't have to make believe or anything.
Yeah.
And when your body don't you find this, Nicholas, that when your body gets involved, then it takes over? It's like the brain is, sits there and judges. The body just goes for it. And any scene any scene the body's like revved up, then it starts happening to you. When it gets scary or exciting. Yeah.
There's so many moments of like just being fully in the scene and in the moment, and with Barbara, and it was just it was it was great.
And I'm coming to Barbara again. Ma'am, you said something really interesting, is that you have grown publicly. You've been working since you were 17. You've seen the industry and the world and social media and everything change. It's just changed. Do you miss the good old days, or are you enjoying it? And, Nicholas's generation is just seeing everything unfolding. They live in the public eye all the time. Nothing is private.
I don't miss it. There was some kind of simplicity to it compared to now. Now it feels like so many things are coming at you, and I'm hooked into it too. I'm on my phone all the time, and it is really different. There's something about the magic of a movie theater when you sit down and it's in this dark and the singular moment of you in the cinema. That seems pretty over, in lots of ways. It just does. But I also love the availability of all of like Amazon and all these things where you can actually have it in your home and have libraries of things that you want to see and just look it up and there it is. It's brilliant. And there's so much more production because of it. So there are a lot of positives to it too.
Nicholas, what do you have to say? You are the generation that, so if there was no social media, you wouldn't know anything otherwise, because it's just been part of your lives.
Yeah, I mean, the business is changed even from when I was in it, when I started. It's every day there's something, changing about this business, and, with streaming now, and it's just it's scary, but it's also like, I think the future is pretty bright and it's pretty cool. Like, it's awesome.
Lovely chatting with you both. I enjoyed the Manor, and I thought there would be jump scare moments, not as such, and I kind of enjoyed the story. I'm looking forward to what the others have to say. Thank you so much. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Real pleasure.
Likewise. Lovely seeing you, sir. So after playing Willard Styles and now to Roland, I think Roland was a little more subdued.
We shot it a year ago. And I haven't seen it yet. So I'm just sort of very excited to see how it turned out. I basically remember what I did, what we were putting together at the time. But the best part of it was working with Barbara Hershey, who I had worked for in my first film that I ever did back in 1968, a film called Last Summer. And we've come full circle to see in the circle of life. We've ended up running around the beaches in our bathing suits and now in the home.
Awesome. That's just, but I was saying that you are remembered for your portrayal of Willard Styles in Willard, where
Willard, yes.
You did scare us all a lot. So what is it about you and horror? You do a good show of scaring us all out.
Well, I think one of my heroes growing up was, and when I was growing up, it was the Saturday movie that we all went to the theater and watched. Yeah. One of my great heroes was Vincent Price. And I always thought I loved Vincent Price and everything that he ever did, from, the House of Wax and then later on, Dr. Phibes and everything. And I got to meet him one night at a dinner, and it was so exciting for me because he was probably one of the kindest men. And he had always had that reputation as being a very kind man. But as a child, he scared the hell out of me. And I always thought, what a great opportunity to do that. That I'm really a nice guy, but I'm going to get you. So that was a great inspiration for me.
But also the premise of this drama is about I think the biggest fear humans have is that of their own mortality. Yes. And, it deals with that aspect. So what was it about this particular narrative that made you say yes to this particular film?
Well, that has so much to do with it. One of my favorite speeches in Shakespeare are the 7 ages of man. And so often in films, they'll do 2 or 3 ages, but then that's it. They don't check on all aspects of our human existence. And that misses the boat for a lot of people. And there are a lot of people out there, especially now in the way that the film business is. Not everybody goes out to the theater, but they can push a button and bring up something that I can identify with. And there's room for all those ages of man in there and all the life's experiences. And with something that doesn't interest my 15-year-old daughter, she'll get to down the road when she sees Citizen Kane or something like that. Then it'll register. Then it'll have an effect. It may not be the hottest thing in the world right now, and certainly can't cope with, Stranger Things for her, but it will, I'm hoping.
I'm sure, sir. And it's amazing, sir, because you've had a prolific career. You've done stage, you've done films, you've done TV. Mm-hmm. And now, back in the day when you all did TV, nobody, it was looked down upon. But guess what? Now everyone is making a career out of being an OTT star. What do you make of this shift that's come about?
Oh, well, it's Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol hit the nail on the head when he said, in the future, everybody will be famous for 15 minutes. And that's sort of when you have the media and it becomes about the media. I remember when news came on at 6 o'clock at night, there was a half an hour and Walter Cronkite would tell you everything, and that's the way it is. And now it's on 24 hours a day and everybody's screaming heads are screaming at each other. And we're all in the Tower of Babel right now. We don't listen to each other. We can't hear each other, but there are so many choices that we're drowning in pablum. And the trick is to try to find something of value within that pea soup we're swimming in.
For somebody who's been part of Broadway and of those larger than life film sets or those grand sets and everything, Do you think this change, what we are living through, is going to change our narratives, how we tell our stories, how we produce our films? As a filmmaker, where do you see this going?
Well, I think there's going to be a resurgence of stage and plays because it seems to be the only place left now where people can gather together that isn't in somebody's living room and there are 10 or 20 people looking at the screen on a wall. But now that those movie theaters are gone, live theater is, I think, going to have a great resurgence. I hope so, because that's, once again, it's getting back to the campfire, telling stories around the campfire. That's where it began for me. And where I've had my greatest experiences is in a theater with, I remember doing a show with the Elephant Man when I was playing the Elephant Man on Broadway, and somebody brought a little person up to me, and he had, was a deformed guy, human being. He just said, thank you so much for me to be able to connect to this story. You told my story. And that's the, that's a wondrous moment I had in the theater. That's been true in films as well, but now there's not so much movie theaters. There's malls, and you can go in like buying popcorn. You buy one seat out of 20 or 30, and you can see any of those movies. It's not a singular experience, and the theater is.
And if I want to ask you, since you have such a prolific and decorated career, the most favorite film and character you ever played? I know it's going to be difficult, but if you were to pick one as of now.
Oh, I couldn't pick one. I just couldn't. After 300 of them, that's like having 300 children. And I like this one because of that. I like this one because of that. The most fun I ever had was chasing Apaches and with Burt Lancaster across the West when I was a young man, because, I always grew up wanting to do that. So that was the most fun. Some of the more difficult films, the one I'm most proud of is Longtime Companion, which was the first time really that AIDS had hit the mainstream in film. So it all varies. Short Eyes was a great prison film that was something. A Lathe of Heaven that was a great science fiction film that dealt with speculative, if we change the future, how does it all unravel? All stuff that eventually became Westworld and all of those things. So, the stories that I've gotten to be part of are that they're stories, but they lead to something else. And to have a favorite one, I have a favorite one this week. I'll have another favorite one next week.
And before we wrap, do you believe in entities? And they always say when you're shooting a film like this, there is always some paranormal activities that happen around. Was there any moment?
Absolutely. I think that not only that, but the questions of past, present, and future, and whatever we're part of, I think is an existing energy that we know nothing about. And it's all speculation. And I really do feel that it's all connected, though. I feel we're all connected in one way or another. It may not be a conscious connection. I'm sort of hoping it is, but we're connected.
I get that. And who would have thought that, across continents and time zones, we would be conversing. It's a connection. Yes. And such a pleasure speaking to you, sir. And thank you very much.
Pleasure to meet you too.
If you've liked this interview, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram.